Tovshin Chavhei, the Rebbe davened for the Omid, the year of Avelis after his mother. So remember that the first Chosson that came out that he should be there, B'shas the Rebbe's davened for the Omid, which would mean that the Rebbe wouldn't have to say Tachnun by that tefillah, was the Chosson. His name was Spielman, and he came to the Rebbe's Minyan when the Rebbe davened for the Omid Shachris. Now, a Chosson doesn't usually come too early the day after his Chassanah, so he didn't come too early, so he didn't come at the beginning of Davening. When he came, the Minyan was already close to Chazoras Hashatz, so he came in, they pushed him in the front, so when the Rebbe will finish Chazoras Hashatz, he will see him, he will see the Chosson, and not say Tachnun. When it came to the end of Chazoras Hashatz, Rabbi Groner, I don't remember if he said something to the Rebbe or he gave the Rebbe a note, but the point was that there's a Chosson here, so we don't see Tachnun. So the Rebbe turned around to see who was the Chosson. He had come late, he didn't put on talis and film yet. So he's standing there without talis and film, and they pushed him up in front, so the Rebbe saw him. When the Rebbe saw him, the Rebbe asked him, "Has gedavend mit Minyan? Did you daven with the Minyan?" It was obvious that he didn't daven with the Minyan, he wasn't wearing talis and film, but the Rebbe asked it, like officially asked him, "Did you daven with the Minyan?" And he said no. So the Rebbe said, "Vos is the din in a case like this, when a Chosson is by Minyan, aber hat nicht gedavend mit Minyan. A Chosson is at the Minyan, but he didn't daven with the Minyan. Wo is Arov? Where's the Arov?" Reb Shmuel Wittner was there, he used to daven with that Minyan. So he walked over to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe asked him, "What's the din?" So Reb Shmuel Wittner answered, "Zol the Chosson aruz gehen." In other words, not to go into any shilas, let the Chosson walk out of the Minyan. So in Mela, there won't be any shilas. So the Chosson walked out, and the Rebbe continued and said Tachnun because the Chosson wasn't there. Now, from then on, what happened was that everybody knew that anybody, any Chosson, or anybody who would come in order to save the Tachnun from the Minyan, had to be davening with the Minyan. And if he didn't daven with the Minyan, he wouldn't come. Because the Rebbe here clearly asked that question, and the end was that the Chosson should go out. Now, I'm not sure that this means that the Rebbe held that the Chosson didn't daven with the Minyan, but he's in shul, that we do say Tachnun. It could be only that the Rebbe didn't want that in his Minyan, where he is the Chazan, that should come out as a psak. Why am I saying it? Because other times, when the Pashtas, the Rebbe knew the Chosson wasn't davening with the Minyan didn't say Tachnun. The Moshel, when the Chosson would take the Siddur by the Rebbe the day of the Chassanah, so the Seder was, the Rebbe would give him the Siddur on the way to Minche. The Rebbe came into Minche. The Chosson also took the Siddur, went from the other side, and went into the Minyan by Minche. And by Minche, every time the Chosson stood throughout the whole Minyan of Minche by the Rebbe at 3:15. But it was obvious that Chosson didn't daven with the Minyan, because the Chassan would afterwards go privately, daven b'yechidas, and say al-chet, etc. So it was known that he didn't daven with the Minyan. Nevertheless, every time this happened, the Minyan did not say Tachnun. And the Rebbe saw it. So obviously we feel that even if he didn't daven with the Minyan, you still don't say Tachnun. But it seems like the Rebbe didn't want that from his davening for the Omid, he should be the one to paskin. I don't know, that's a possibility. And why am I saying this possibility? Because there was another time where, I don't know which way we can learn from it, when there was somebody who came from Eretz Yisrael, and it was Yud Shvat when the Rebbe davened for the Omid. This was Yud Shvat Tovshin Chov Gimel, and the Rebbe had an Aliyah, and the Rebbe had Shlishi. Right after Shlishi, you're supposed to say Kaddish, and the Rebbe was supposed to say Kaddish. This person said Gomel, bench Gomel right there before Kaddish. So by the Fabring and Yud Shvat, the Rebbe spoke about it very strongly, that you can't be mafsik between the Aliyah and Kaddish. Kaddish is supposed to go down in the Aliyah, and therefore you shouldn't do anything in between, and therefore you can't say, you shouldn't bench Gomel in between. And the Rebbe went into the details of benching Gomel, etc., etc. But the Rebbe said that Be'emes, even if it wouldn't be my Aliyah, it's my Minyan, therefore I should have been Meiche. Certainly if this happened by my Aliyah, that after my Aliyah, right away, this person said Gomel. So the Rebbe made it clear, I want to be made dia, that this was not done with my haskama, and this is not the right thing to do, etc., etc. But here I saw that the Rebbe said that because it was his Minyan, that means a Minyan that he davened for Domen, because Yud Shvat the Rebbe davened for Domen, he has to make a machor. Certainly if it was his Aliyah, is mashman that the Rebbe felt that if it's his Minyan, that seems like it's his haskama. If it's not his Minyan, so then what the Minyan does is not on his responsibility. And it's probably like the Rebbe said many times in the name of the Rebbe Rashab, that the Friedrich Rebbe said, that anything has to do with the anhogas of the shul, he doesn't mix in. So therefore, by the other times, the Rebbe didn't say anything when the Chosson came with the Siddur. But here, it was the Rebbe's Minyan, the Rebbe down for Doma, that's what he said it. So I'm not sure exactly which with this. I don't know if we can learn out from here exactly what to do if the Chosson doesn't have in the Minyan. But this is the Maaseh that happened, Tov Shin Chav Hei, with that Chosson that came late and didn't daven with the Minyan.